everybody, it's time for current events. We're going to read the Driftless Journal from Tuesday, February 16th, and the Decorah Public Opinion from Thursday, February 18th. In the Driftless Journal, we're going to start out with Cute, Cuddly, and For a Cause, Adoptables Project by Youth Entrepreneur benefits Humane Society of Northeastern Iowa. Decorah 8th grader Hannah Arndt has a message for anyone considering an animal to their family. Choose adoption. Excuse me. Arndt, an animal lover and supporter of the Humane Society of Northeast Iowa, is showcasing that belief with her newest project. She has partnered with the Get Up in downtown Decorah to sell adoptables, second-hand stuffed animals that can be adopted by families. The idea for adoptables started with a cat Arndt and her family adopted from the Humane Society. Noting the cat liked to go on walks, Arndt got her sewing machine and created a harness for the cat. From there, she started making jackets for her stuffed animals. Then the idea bloomed to fashion more than just Arndt's own animals. For the adoptables, she finds her stuffed animals at either the Depot or Goodwill and cleans them up. Then she selects a pattern and color palette for a jacket. She creates a leash that coordinates with the jacket, and after sewing the jacket together and checking for loose threads, the final step is printing an adoption certificate for each animal and their adopter. Overall, it takes her about 30 to 60 minutes to do one animal. And here is, let's see if there's a better picture. Picture of her. Oops, that's not her. At the sewing machine, sewing for her animals. And there's her with her cat. He looks cute. I think it's a he. I don't know. But hopefully it is. All right. Homes for Iowa addresses housing shortages. Housing costs can make it harder for Iowans to find a new place to call their own. Homes for Iowa intends to address this challenge. During the next 10 years, the organization plans to build more than 800 affordable homes in different parts of the state. Iowa struggles to build moderately priced new homes. The demand is high and the supply is low. The lack of moderately priced homes is a problem. Well, that's a good idea because a lot of people would like to have their own home but can't afford one. Okay. Decorah High School speech and drama was successful at the state competition, earning 22 Division I ratings out of 27 total entries. Way to go, Vikings. All right. Moving on to the next page. This is still the wedding edition, so there's like a lot of information about wedding planning and photography and where you can hold your weddings and whatnots, which is great. Then we got two fun articles. One about Wayne Clement and one about Jim Doherty. So I'll read those two because they live here. We learned to love each other more through the years. Getting together. Ginny and Wayne Clement met on a blind date and have been married for 46 years. When we were at our reception, Wayne's groomsmen thought it would be really hilarious to carry our 73 Dodge Charger up the church steps of St. Joe's in New Hampton, said Ginny. When we came out of the church, there were people taking pictures, and believe it or not, Wayne drove the car down the steps. If you've met Wayne, it's believe it. All right. Sticking together through crisis. The couple who survived the 80s farm crisis said COVID-19 is the crisis of today. It's easy to stay in touch, but you feel separated because you can't physically be together. But keep the faith. You will get through it. When asked about the challenges for today's couples, they said it's hard for both spouses to work and try to raise a family. Their advice is be true to your spouse, sit down and talk out issues, don't give up on the first argument, and don't immediately run for divorce. Even with all the crisis this couple has faced, they said, we learned to love each other more through the years. Next, we have Jim and LaVon Doherty. James and LaVon met when her parents were moving away, and he came to help finish baling hay before the move. The couple borrowed a car for the day, and they were married during Jim's last days in the service in Oakland, California. The couple moved back to Iowa and bought a fixer-upper house to start out with. Money was short and the house needed updates, but they stuck together and made it happen. Even though James is a man of few words, they believe communication is important for couples. The best advice they got was to take time out and relax, and their advice to couples is to listen closely to each other. That's good advice that all newlyweds would want. Okay, wedding stuff. Let's see. No. Let's see. We've got soup, supper games, some kids. St. Teresa of Calcutta 4-year-old preschool students participate in the school's annual soup supper games during Catholic Schools Week. For many of these students, it was their first time to ride a school bus as well as go on a field trip. That's fun. All right, they're only 4 years old. Cool. And the rest is sports news. So there wasn't a ton in the Driftless Journal today, but if you were planning a wedding, it was a really good issue to have. We're going to move on to the more meaty offerings of the Decor Public Opinion. Okay. And they're starting out on the front page with the renovation to the Decorah Public Library. Look at that. It's barely recognizable. Very nice. Decorah teachers have received their first COVID-19 vaccine. That is great news. And the county is seeing a rise in the case count. That is not good news, so glad they got their shots. All right. The Dayland rezoning has been tabled by the council. They were going to rezone this area of town, but it has been tabled. So, I don't know. Maybe some other time. Let's see. Luther College receives the Roy J. Carver Charitable Trust grant to create a comprehensive nursing simulation center. Luther College was awarded $200,000 in a grant from the Roy J. Carver Charitable Trust to support the creation of a comprehensive nursing simulation center, which will create additional real-life practice settings that will more closely simulate a hospital environment. This is achieved through patient simulators, simulation equipment, software, and audiovisual technology. Check it out. They're learning with a mannequin that looks pretty much like an actual lady. Okay, that's great. We don't need to read the sheriff stuff. Let's see. Letters to the editor. Let's see. Let's see. We've got the religion section. It might be a good one. Always good to have different perspectives, and this is from Reverend Miyoko Laura Demuth, and her article is called Finding Balance on the Tip of a Bamboo Pole. Long ago in ancient India, there was a bamboo acrobat and his assistant who made their living performing in the village square. The master would climb up a bamboo pole and with great agility balance himself on its tip. His assistant would then climb up the pole and stand on his master's shoulders. One day the master said, You look after my balance, and I will look after yours. By looking after one another's balance, we will be successful. Please the villagers and receive good payment." The assistant replied, "No, that will never do. You need to look after your own balance, and I will look after mine. With each of us looking after ourselves, we will keep our balance, be successful, please the villagers, and receive good payment." Buddha continued this teaching with the following lines. Looking after oneself, one looks after others. Looking after others, one looks after oneself. How does one look after others by looking after oneself? By practicing mindfulness, developing it, and making it grow. How does one look after oneself by looking after others? By patience, non-harming, loving kindness, and caring. In this story, the offer made by the master acrobat to take care of the balance of the assistant may appear at first to be a compassionate offering, but it is not an offering made with wisdom. We are ultimately responsible for maintaining our own health and practice. As much as we wish to respond to the needs of those around us, we must first address our own need for calm and balance before we can meaningfully help others. Right mindfulness is practiced with the intention of benefiting all beings. We take our physical sense of balance for granted until something happens to the various mechanisms that work together to allow us to move through space with confidence. If you have ever experienced the disorienting confusion that results from a loss of balance, you can appreciate how impossible it would be to safely carry someone else on your shoulders at such a time. Physically, that would be impossible, but figuratively, in our family, professional, or community lives, this is what many of us attempt to do. We often fear that taking time to care for ourselves is a form of selfishness. We are inclined to place the activities that enhance our sense of balance at the bottom of our to-do list, something we will get to if time allows. When we are busy, the activities that we engage in help us establish a sense of calm or well-being are often the very activities that we take to be optional and are pushed off our agenda. This is likely a time when we are carrying the heaviest burden on our shoulders, likely a time when we would most benefit from a sense of being well-balanced. About this text, Andrew Olensky says, "The quality of every relationship is enhanced by the care brought to it by each party, and this is especially important when one person depends directly upon and trusts the attentiveness of the other. Mindfulness is a tool for looking inward, adjusting our balance and staying focused on the still center upon which everything else is poised. The quality of the present movement of awareness, that bamboo pole upon which we all hover, can be calm, stable, and focused, and when it is, our well-being and that of those who depend on us is well protected. When it is not, no amount of pointing to the doings of others can compensate or restore our balance. Ultimately, there is no difference between taking care of self and other. Ultimately, we are intimately enmeshed, interdependent. Self and other are merely concepts we hold in our minds. We develop and cultivate mindfulness not simply to attain a sense of calm for ourselves, but to take care of others. We practice mindfulness for the benefit of all beings, the foundation that allows us to respond to the cries of the world with wisdom and compassion. And in turn, patience, non-harming, kindness, and compassion are all ways that we are taking care of ourselves when we take care of others." That's good advice. Just like they tell you to put on your own oxygen mask before you try to put that on for a small child or someone who needs assistance. Okay. Let's see if we have any obituaries that we need to read. I don't believe so. Okay. Decorah Public Library expands tech access. The newly remodeled facility's yellow zone designation allows for limited use of public computers, Wi-Fi access on personal devices. The Decorah Public Library staff began the implementation of the Yellow Zone services beginning Tuesday, February 16th, in response to Winneshiek County's 14-day average COVID-19 positivity rates being around 8%. New services available will include a limited number of public computers available for 30-minute sessions, limited indoor Wi-Fi access for patrons, and printing and scanning. Due to safety precautions, staff will be unable to provide technology assistance. Red zone services, including curbside pickup, book bundles, outdoor Wi-Fi access, and digital programming, will continue to be available. According to the library director, Kristen Torresdahl, the current plan is to offer express text services from 12 to 6 p.m., Tuesday through Thursday. The Decorah City's mask policy will be enforced inside the library building, and 6-foot social distancing will be required. Book browsing and in-person checkouts are not available in the yellow zone. Patrons are instead encouraged to contact the library for curbside pickup. All right. It's hard to have a pandemic. Everything is a little bit more difficult. Even going to the library. Let's see. The South Winneshiek Speech Group has received a Division I rating, so congratulations to them. Okay, there's a photo here of Bob's Standard Station from the 70s at the intersection of College Drive and 5th Avenue. So that's echoes of the past, but not as far past as most echoes of the past. Okay, 1941, 80 years ago. Beer law may be revised in near future. Revisions in the state beer law are up for consideration in the legislature. One bill would prohibit dancing in any room where beer is sold or in rooms connecting, prevent the sale of food in places where beer is sold, and limit sales only to establishments strictly set up for the purpose of selling beer. That doesn't sound very fun. The bill also would ban card playing, slot machines, and pinball machines from beer parlors in 1941. What? As can be seen, this measure would mean a virtual return to the saloon system. I hope they didn't manage to revise that, because if not, everyone would have moved to Wisconsin. Okay. Luther College professor I don't know how to pronounce this, Reque, will be the main speaker on the weekend at the dedicatory exercises at the new Pleasant No. 1 Country School building. The school building, located 3 miles east of the Big Canoe Lutheran Church, is the most modernly constructed and equipped of any rural school in the country. The lines of the building are most modern, and the lighting all comes from the north. The north side of the school is composed almost entirely of windows. The present roster of pupils includes Eunice Ford, Helen Iverson, Herbert Stone, Alton Barth, Shirley Berg, Rebecca Ford, Norma Ellingson, Marilyn Barth, Violet Bidney, Robert Hansen, Bernice Berg, Lawrence Ford, Gordon Ford, Helen Bidney, Vernon Ellingson, Ronald Barth, George Bidney, Donald Hansen, Irene Berg, Alan Ford, Doris Hansen, and Bernard Barth. All right. Sounds like a nice school. 1951, 70 years ago, A total of $223 has been turned into the polio fund through the use of polio cards given to the grade school pupils at Decorah Grade Schools and at St. Benedict's School. Janice Ralph is the polio drive school chairman. 500 turned out for the annual Boy Scout circus on the Luther College campus last week. Bad roads caused many scouts from neighboring communities to be absent from the event. That's too bad. The Decorah JCs will hold a roller skating party at the Bob-O rink next week. Paul Hardy, committee organizer, said about 40 couples are expected to attend. The JCs are also planning a spring dance in early April. Place for the dance has not yet been set. Work has started on the Ditto Food Market's new self-service department. In the back of the counter will be produce and meat coolers. This new development means the present meat counter will no longer be necessary, as the wrapped food will be on display in the new coolers. 1961, 60 years ago. Following school graduation this summer, the 8th graders will cease receiving diplomas before entering the 9th grade. Because the school has some diplomas left over, they will be presented this year for the last time. City property across from the new City Hall has been offered to the Post Office Department for the site of a possible new post office building for the city of Decorah. 1971. 50 years ago, a recently formed singles club will meet at the Cliff House in Decorah next Wednesday night. A break-in at the Farm Service office in Calmer is now under investigation by the Winneshiek County Sheriff's Department. U.S. Air Force Captain John Meyer, son of Mrs. Lawrence Meyer of Ocean, has been decorated with the Bronze Star and the Air Force Commendation Medal at Maelstrom Air Force Base, Montana. He received the Bronze Star for meritorious service while engaged in military operations against Viet Cong forces at Monkey Mountain, Vietnam. The Arthur Frey family of rural Frankville has been named Farm Family of the Year for the Almaquis, Winneshiek counties by the Farmers Home Administration, FHA. In loving memory of company founder James C. Penney, the Decorah J.C. Penney store will be closed February 16, 1971. Mr. Penney died February 12, 1971, at the age of 95. 1981, 40 years ago. Rhonda Dolish, Deborah Drenth, Margaret Kane, Carla Kubik, Randy Ramlow, Lori Thorson, Kristen Borseth, and Rebecca Borseth are all on the Dean's List at the University of Northern Iowa. Wings Nest Photography in Decorah is once again sponsoring the Colorful Cutie Photo Contest. 21 winners will be announced. Savings bonds will be awarded to the winners. Cable and pay television have become entertainment alternatives worth the monthly fee to many Decorah area residents. Cable customers now have 13 channels to choose from. The cost is $6 per month. J&E Cable Company offers the broad service in television viewing. Well, we certainly have more than that now, but I don't know if any of them are worth watching, and it's a lot more expensive. Coast to Coast is celebrating 50 years of business in Decorah. Current owners Jerry and Joanne Always, Aulwes, not sure how to pronounce that, were pictured with former owner Leo Tekippe, Tekippe, in a newspaper article last week. I'm struggling with the names today. Virgil Stotskoff has been selected as Safety Patrolman of the Month at East Side School. He was chosen from 21 patrol members. Other recent honorees were Michelle Gipp, Mike Roberts, Tracy Wiest, Mike Nelson, Callie Benda, Blong Vang, Jenny Nelson, and Robert Boylan. I don't know. I'm batting that 500 today. 1991, 30 years ago. Decorah's John Thompson is shooting for the top in the state wrestling tourney in the 119-pound weight class. That's not very big. Janine Wicks is the new sales associate for Dave Kelly Partners Real Estate. 2001, 20 years ago. Penny Leak, RN of Decorah, has earned the Nurse of the Year honors at Iowa Nurses Association. Ashley Eckhart will represent Decorah High School at the All-State Outstanding Speech Festival in Des Moines. 2011, just 10 years ago. Homeschool students will not be recognized during graduation ceremonies at Decorah High School. That was the school board's decision following a discussion last week. Candidates for Southwind FFA Sweetheart this winter are Chelsea Coonan, Alex Knutson, Dara Lansing, Emily Lansing, and Caitlin Kreiner. They will be crowned by last year's honoree Alanda Hageman during the FFA Sweetheart coronation in the high school gym. All right. Anything else we've got? Mainly sports. I think that's going to wind it up for current events this week. Next week we'll have it again on Friday. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for watching.